Disturbing facts about historical figures. The first name right here I see is Mr. Wolfgang himself. My goat Wolfgang didn't do nothing wrong.
This list is something, so let's just get right into it.
My goat Wolfgang didn't do nothing wrong.
Mozart.
He didn't do nothing
So
wrong.
we're starting this list with Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart.
Yes.
One of the greatest composers in the history of music.
Yeah, period.
Chances are, even if you're not a fan of classical music, you've probably heard at least a few of his songs.
What type of slander are you about to put on
I'm
his
playing one
name?
in the background right now.
What type of slander?
Did you know that in addition to banging out over 800 legendary compositions, Mozart also wrote a few songs about licking holes?
Yes! That's my goat! That's my goat! Ain't nothing disturbing about that. That's Wolfgang. That's Wolfgang right there, man. My goat, bro. Talk to him. I'm up on Twitch right now. Link is in the description, so you should come join. Because if you don't...
That's right, songs, as in multiple songs about licking holes.
Yes!
But first, let's rewind a bit to try to explain why. Born in
He don't need to explain himself. Let him eat butt.
1756,
he don't need to explain nothing.
Mozart was one of the earliest examples of a child prodigy. He excelled in both piano and violin, and was composing and performing in front of royalty at the age of 5. For context, my greatest accomplishment at the age of 5 was putting on my Crocs all by myself.
I remember at the age of 5, I forgot how to tie my shoes. I had to relearn at the age of 6. I knew how to tie my shoes at the age of 4. I turned 5. I forgot how to tie them. I was like, hold up. How do I tie my shoes again?
Mozart was out there playing the piano in front of the kings and queens of Europe. Pretty much the same thing if you ask me, but anyways. At the age of 17, he became an official musician of the Salzburg court in the Holy Roman Empire, where he composed some of his most critically acclaimed masterpieces. Now, I'm telling you all of this because there's this modern-day theory that child stars stop mentally maturing at the age they become famous.
That's true.
And this may have been the case for Mozart as well, as he was
how is that the case for him just because he eating butt though? You know what I mean? Like okay, he eating butt, that don't mean he stopped maturing. That means he matured more. Like he just learned what he liked. Like
to things like butts and poop and balls. Just like as he was very into things like butts and poop.
Hold up. He gonna need some foreplay. Get you some tissues. Hold up.
And balls.
So he was bisexual. Like, what are we talking about?
Just like your typical kindergartner, he thought these things were hilarious. In love letters to...
Hold up. I know plenty of grown men laughing at fart jokes. Okay? I know plenty of grown folk laughing at fart jokes, jokes about their balls, and jokes about butts. That's all. I'm not following, man. I'm still locked in. He still thinks it's hilarious. Hold up.
To his cousin. Yeah, don't ask. These things were hilarious. In love letters to his cousin.
It's a different time. Bro. It's a different time. Like, it could be his third cousin from across the country. He don't even know that they're a cousin. They don't know that. He doesn't know they're related. That's like the fourth cousin down the line. Like, bro, come on now.
Yeah, don't ask.
They're not first, second, or third cousin, bro. That's fourth cousin right there. Don't let them play you like that, Moats.
We find quotes like, I wish you good night. Shit in your bed all your might. And I shit on your nose so it runs down your chin. And you might...
like he's a comedian too, bro. He just had it all. He just had it. He's a comedian also. Like, come on now.
I'd say, well, at the peak of his fame, the dude was still a teenager. These letters were written when he was in his 20s. The guy just loved talking about poop. There are at least 40 preserved letters written by Mozart where he talks about pooping or butts or something.
You have to understand, bro. It's a different time. They had nothing to do, bro. Like, he had nothing to do. What else could he do? He was playing music, you know what I'm saying? It took 30 days just to get to the next state, you know? Like, he started looking in the mirror that's made out of like ancient brick. He's like, man, I really gotta poop. Poop. You know what I'm saying? Like
some other weird thing. And he didn't just keep it between friends and family. He even composed pieces for the general public to tell everyone that he really liked holes. The most well-known of...
He was an old-time Kevin Gates. He was the OG Kevin Gates.
Mozart's Dirty Ditties was the beautiful...
Dirty Ditties?
Really liked holes. The most well-known of Mozart's Dirty Ditties was the...
Hold on. I know you're not talking about Wolfgang like that. Hold on.
Beautiful choral piece for 6 voices, Lech mich im Arsch, or Lick Me in the...
He likes his butt touched. Like, what are we talking? Like, come on now.
with lyrics that speak to, well, getting licked in the...
Oh, baby.
Here's a snippet from the English translation.
Give it to me.
Lick me in the...
Oh.
Quickly, quickly. Lick me in the...
Baby.
Quickly. Now, what I find most hilarious about all this is you can actually go and watch
Nothing
videos of
crazy about that.
serious classical singers dressed up in suits and ties singing Lick Me in the...
Oh, baby.
on YouTube. It's almost as if Mozart knew that if he wrote it, people would be singing this song about licking
I'm
balls
telling
for
you,
hundreds of
he's
years.
just a comedic genius. You know what I'm saying? He was one of those guys where like everything he did was gonna get over dissected. It's like Kendrick. You know what I mean? Sometimes Kendrick could just say a line. People are like, hold up, there gotta be something deeper to that. That's all it was. He was enjoying how much influence he had. He's a GOAT, bro.
Some other translated lyrics from a few other of Mozart's ass-focused bangers include "Stick your ass to your mouth," "Oh, lick me real quick in the," and maybe my personal...
Like, these are words that we've all said before, though. You know what I mean? Like, none of this is out of the ordinary. You've had a conversation with your friend, and something of this has been said. Like, come on now.
favorite, "It is difficult to lick my and balls." You said it,
Period.
Amadeus. We've all tried, and it is difficult, you genius prodigy.
Talk to him, bro.
Number 2, Thomas Edison. Many people know of Thomas Edison as the genius inventor behind
Who
things
stole the
like
light
the
bulb?
incandescent light bulb, the phonograph, and the kinetoscope, to name a few. But not
Okay.
many people know just how power-hungry and downright cruel Edison really was.
See,
Edison-
and then you put in Wolfgang in like the same conversation as him. Wolfgang had all the power in the world, and he was making poop jokes. You have to respect it. He had all the power in the world. You know what he did? He made grown men get on stage talking about lick my butt. That's aura.
Was an ego-driven cutthroat businessman who went to extreme lengths to make as much money as possible. He even went as far as publicly electrocuting animals to try to put his competitors out of business.
Okay, Coliseum.
But before that,
he
let's
was
start with his
racing the wrong time, bro. Put him in the 1300s.
accidental creation of Hollywood. One of Edison's
He
favorite
created
activities
Hollywood?
was suing other people when they didn't pay him to use his inventions. When he and his partner created the first movie camera and movie projector, he opened America's first movie production studio in 1893,
Oh,
dubbed
Lord.
the Black Maria, in West Orange, New Jersey. Shortly after opening the Black Maria, he formed the Motion Picture Patents Company, a trust nicknamed, surprise, surprise, the Edison Trust, which contained his production company as well as all of his major competitors.
I already know any movie that Edison made was mid. Edison doesn't have a single hit in his discography of movies, bro.
Who, by that time, were all on the brink of failure due to constantly being sued by Edison. Through this trust, he then began to sue anyone and everyone who tried to make movies without paying him first.
Boo.
Because of the sheer amount of patents the trust held, it became virtually impossible for anyone to make movies on the East Coast without paying Edison a hefty sum or getting sued.
That's what I'm
As a
saying.
result,
Wolfgang would never.
independent filmmakers opted to get as far away from Edison as possible. With its cheap land and abundant labor, Hollywood, California was the best and furthest
So
option.
you're telling me that he didn't create Hollywood, he made people all immigrate to the other side of the country to start their own, to start a whole separate business model. That's hilarious.
The rest is history. So Hollywood essentially was created because independent filmmakers were like, I gotta get the f*** away from this guy, and moved
Valid.
the entire movie industry across the country to do
Yeah.
so. Anyways, surprise, surprise, the Edison Trust was shut down in 1915 after losing an antitrust monopoly court case. Shocking. But speaking of shocking, that brings us to our next horrific Edison story.
Oh,
As
hold on,
America
what?
industrialized, there were two competing methods to bring electricity to the masses: direct current and alternating current, or DC and AC
Yeah, we all learned this in school.
electricity,
Yeah.
respectively. To prove this, he went to extreme lengths to smear the public perception of AC electricity.
W propagandist.
Edison began to hold public displays where he would gather a crowd and then electrocute animals with alternating current as a way to demonstrate how dangerous it was.
Yo, someone get Edison, bro. Someone get Edison.
Edison fried mostly stray cats and dogs. But on one occasion, when the
Of course, it's stray cats and dogs, because that's the animals that humans are most in touch with.
Coney Island Zoo decided that they needed to put down an unruly elephant, Edison jumped on the opportunity.
What?
In 1903, in front of a crowd of 1,500 people, Edison electrocuted Topsy the elephant to prove his point.
They called him an unruly elephant, and I guarantee you the elephant just didn't feel like being enslaved. You know how crazy that is? They put that elephant in a cage, probably away from his family, and when it started tweaking, they're gonna call it unruly, like you didn't just kidnap the elephant. That's ridiculous.
Even filming the incident to have it live on forever. Don't Google it, it's messed up. Ultimately, while the stunt was successful in killing Topsy, it did little to stop the growing popularity of alternating current systems, and eventually AC electricity became the widespread standard that powers the majority of the world today. Number 3. Henry Ford. Henry Ford, founder of the Ford Motor Company, is one of the most influential businessmen in U.S. history. But did you know he was also a huge racist who was praised by even Hitler himself?
Goodbye.
Ford's introduction...
No, that's insane! No, Hitler patting on you, Martin, you in the head calling you a good boy is hilarious. No, that's not. I mean, that's so like, then you have to be a garbage person for that to happen. Like,
Production of the Model T automobile and pioneering of the assembly line technique completely changed the world, revolutionizing both manufacturing and transportation in America.
so what I'm hearing is like if Henry Ford was able to have slaves, he would have revolutionized like the efficiency of slavery. What if look, what if Henry Ford revolutionized slavery so great to the point that slavery never got abolished because they're like, hold up, this system is way too efficient. See, and that's why you have to be grateful certain people were born at the time they were born, because low key it could be a lot worse if they were born in the right time for them to thrive. I'm just saying.
Serving as the sole owner of his company, Ford was one of the richest and most respected men of his time, and a shining example of capitalism at its finest.
Man's respected by
However,
Hitler. Is
while
that really
Ford
a good
was
thing?
a shining example of capitalism, he was also the shining example of a huge racist dick. Starting off, Ford's factories
Don't Jew boyfriend like me? Hitler's? Okay.
practiced your standard racial segregation of the time. Ford felt that black people were inherently inferior to whites, and his black workers were unable to be promoted or to hold any sort of executive position.
Excellent.
They usually worked only in the forge and foundry of the factories, the most dangerous positions in the company.
Fantastic.
He also publicly supported organizations like the KKK.
I'm so
But
shocked.
Ford's treatment of black people pales in comparison to his utter hatred of Jews. Ford was a loud and proud anti-Semite who invested almost as much energy into creating anti-Jewish propaganda as he did growing his automobile company. He believed a racist conspiracy theory that Jews controlled the world's labor unions, banks, and media, and because of his wealth and success, his words held a lot of weight around the world. Ford believed that Jewish people were out to get him, so much so that he purchased a...
I mean, would you blame him? Hey guys, I hate this group of people. I've been hating them for the last 10 years, guys. And for some reason, I think they're out to get me now. I don't know what's going on. Like, what are you talking about?
The struggling newspaper to begin running a weekly series titled The International Jew, The World's Problem, on the paper's front page. Titled The International Jew, The World's Problem.
What?
On the paper's front page. Subtle. The International Jew articles were collected into booklets and published in post-World War I Germany and heavily influenced many young Germans who saw Ford as a successful and powerful American. There are documented cases of Nazi officials saying that it was Ford's publications that convinced them that Hitler and the Nazi ideology were right. Speaking of Hitler, he was also a huge fan of Ford's work and even mentioned him by name in Mein Kampf as a single great man. Hitler was known to keep a photo of Ford as well as copies of the International Jew in his office for inspiration.
Gulp. Like, this is some crazy meat suck right now. Goodness.
In 1938, Germany awarded Ford the Grand Cross of the German Eagle, the highest Nazi award that can be given to anyone not of German descent, which he happily accepted. Henry Ford died in 1947, taking his anti-Semitic beliefs with him. And in 2014, Ford Motor Company appointed its first Jewish CEO in Mark Field.
Oh, he's in this great piss. He might just wake up and be like, hey, not my company.
Number 4. Alexander the Great.
Oh, goodness.
Alexander the Great is widely recognized as one of history's greatest and most accomplished military commanders and warriors.
I think he's overrated.
But what most people don't know
think it's
is
just
that
his
once
name.
he got so drunk during a banquet that he ended up killing one of his best friends.
Oh, no. No, that's an
After taking
accident
the
that
throne
happens.
at the
You
age
know,
of
we all
20,
done that
following
before.
the assassination of his father, Philip II, Alexander spent the majority of his reign successfully conducting large-scale military campaigns throughout Asia and Egypt. And by the time he was 30, Alexander had accumulated not only a super legit KDA, but also one of the largest empires in the history of the world, stretching from Greece to northwestern India. But who was this friend he killed and why? Well, Cletus the Black was an officer who
Cletus?
initially served as an
Yuck.
army commander under Philip II, a position that he retained when Alexander took the throne. He was a trusted military advisor, and in the Battle of Granicus in 334 BCE, as Alexander was being assailed by 2 Persian warriors, Cletus saved the king by severing the arm of one of the Persians before the enemy could deliver the killing blow.
I'm not gonna lie, if I see
By
that my
all
friend's trying to stab me, try to kill me, bro. Man, what do you do? Like, if a sword's swinging towards your neck, like the natural thing to do for me personally is to deflect it with my wrist because of the uranium my mom intook when I was in her stomach. My wrists are stronger than normal, so it can't crack metal like steel. Now, it can't crack something like diamond because diamond's just that strong. But something as soft as steel, my wrist could crack. So I probably just hit him with one of these and then just gut punch him. I'll take the sword from him and be like, "What are you doing?" But then again, that could be considered treason. Like, that's the only problem because he is a king, and that's probably the biggest issue. So like, maybe I just block it and then like ask for forgiveness. You know what I'm saying? Because I can't stand up to him because he's king. That
Counts,
sucks.
Cletus was an extremely valuable asset and a good friend to Alexander, but ultimately not enough of a friend to, not murder. In 328 BCE, Alexander was holding a banquet, and it was during this banquet that he and Cletus got into a heated argument which ultimately turned deadly.
What?
While the particulars of the night's events vary from
Y'all
author
were
to
just
author,
drunk and
what
angry?
all sources agree on is
Drunk
that
and
both
angry.
men were extremely drunk. That night, Alexander announced a reorganization of his military commands, and Cletus specifically got the short end of the stick when he was ordered to lead a group of 16,000 defeated mercenaries to Central Asia, which he viewed as a massive demotion.
Okay.
He would go from commanding one of the most revered cavalries in the world to leading a group of losers into the middle of nowhere. He called BS, and then things got wild. Cletus began voicing his opposition to the plan, which began to upset Alexander. Then, Cletus added fuel to the fire by claiming that Alexander was not the legitimate king, and that all of his achievements were only made possible by his father, the slain Philip II.
Ooh, and see, that's what I'm saying. Like, Alexander really overrated, bro. See, that I would have got my neck cut because I'm with him, man.
Sick burn. Anyways, some back and forth and a few more insults from Cletus, Alexander got so pissed he threw an apple at Cletus's head and demanded a dagger or spear. The guards, not
What?
wanting to get in the middle of a fight between their emperor and his well-respected friend, escorted Cletus out of the room. And that was that. Until somehow Cletus drunkenly made his way back into the room, loudly
Wow.
shouting a second course of insults he had come up with. Alexander, who,
It's like how after you go into a shower, you're like, dang, there's so many things I could have said better in the argument. So you spin back.
remember at this point was also still drunk and pissed, decided that he had heard enough and grabbed a nearby javelin and threw it directly through Cletus's heart. Most records show that
R.I.P.
Alexander regretted this incident immediately and grieved for Cletus afterwards. Waking up to a drunk text you sent to your ex during a blackout is one thing, but what about waking up to having drunkenly murdered your friend with a javelin? Cletus had been a commander in service to the crown since before Alexander even took the throne. Not to mention he had saved him from certain death a number of years before. Alas, once a javelin goes through the heart, there are generally no takebacks.
R.I.P. man.
Number 5. William Clark of the Lewis and Clark Expedition.
Oh,
After the Louisiana-
the creators of the
At a
plane.
purchase of 1803, President Thomas Jefferson commissioned the Corps of Discovery Expedition, commonly known as the Lewis and Clark Expedition, which sent Captain Meriwether Lewis and his best bro William Clark, along with a small crew, on a multi-year mission to find a trade route through the newly acquired
Right, are these the people who are on the train? Now I'm getting confused.
Western Front.
I mean, not on the train, but on the plane.
Among the crew was just one African American, Clark's personal slave, York.
Okay, okay, wait, what are y'all talking about? No, that's the Wright brothers. Ah, dang. Dang, you know what I'm saying? It's just I'm getting them all mixed up, man. They're all the same in my head.
Who was instrumental in the ultimate success of the expedition. But who was York, and what became of him when they returned? York was born enslaved and had been in service to Clark's family for almost his entire life.
Boo!
He was around the same age as Clark himself, so naturally he was designated as Clark's personal slave when they were both children.
Boo!
The two grew up together, learned valuable outdoor skills, and grew a deep but complicated bond. When Clark received the call from Lewis about the expedition, he decided to bring York along as his companion. During the expedition, York diligently stayed by his master's side throughout the entire ordeal. He faithfully worked, hunted, fought, and traveled with Clark. And
okay, y'all think York is about to get hoed? Let's be honest, guys. Y'all think York is about to get hoed? Because I think they're about to hoe him something crazy. Do y'all think York is about to get
his
hoed?
men for the whole 3-year journey. His contributions went far beyond that of a general laborer. York helped Lewis and Clark deal peacefully with native tribes after the group had botched their first few interactions with the Native Americans. The tribes would be more at ease seeing a man with dark skin traveling with the party, and eventually when Lewis and Clark encountered a native group, the elders would instinctively begin talking with York first.
They were attracted to the melanin.
As if he was the leader. Now, before you start typing in the comments, yes, the introduction of Sacagawea to the party obviously made native relations easier as well, but she did not have contact with the expedition until the group had already been traveling for 9 months.
Talk to him.
Cool your jets. Clark even wrote about York's value to the party in his own personal writings, saying
how are y'all about to hoe York? Because that's what this is all leading to. Like, how is York about to get hoed?
York astonished the natives they encountered. As the journey progressed, so too did York's standing within the group.
They're gonna hoe him because the natives love him.
He was also allowed to hunt with a rifle, which slaves were not allowed to touch at the time, and even gained voting rights amongst the crew when decisions needed to be made. With this newfound acceptance, York began to see himself in a new light, as through his actions he slowly gained the respect of everyone in the crew. Well, everyone except Clark, that is.
Wasn't it Clark
After
his
the
master?
successful completion of their expedition,
Ain't no way
York,
Clark about to
newly
hoe him.
empowered by what was undoubtedly a life-changing journey, asked his master for freedom. Clark, however, despite all they had been through, said no, and became frustrated that York even asked for such a thing.
Bro.
Which I guess is not surprising given the times, but still seems extra cruel considering he treated York like an equal for 3 years, when it benefited him only to act like nothing had changed when they returned. Every other member of the expedition was handsomely paid with money or land, but York...
You know what I'm doing, bro? As York, I'm going straight to the natives. I'm like, hey, they did this, that, and the third. Let's rob them. I'm switching sides immediately.
As a slave, received nothing.
I'm running out of
when
there.
York continued asking for his freedom, Clark grew angry and had him whipped, and then sent away to a harsher slave owner as punishment.
What?
There are some reports that Clark eventually did free York years later, but whether or not this is true or simply historical whitewashing, we'll never know.
So wait, I just listened to a story of York getting hoed? That was it? Edison didn't get hoed? Ford didn't get hoed? Mozart didn't get hoed? How come the only black person on the list is the one that got hoed? I thought he was going to get his get back. He didn't even get his get back. He did everything and got no get back, and that's just how it is. That's just how it was, man. That's just how it was for some of us back in the day, man. That sucks. But amazing video, serious history.